Taking a bit. All right, there we go. We are live. All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Sir Hunt's Reviews. My name's Mark, and this is Mark's podcast, episode 5. I have a special friggin' guest with me today. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm Tarzan from Trial by Trivia. We got a channel. Check it out, Trial by Trivia. What we got going on is we do Game of Thrones tournaments. We put other YouTubers against each other, and we also have I guess, what would you call it, a very interactive chat at least once a week. And we give shit away every month. So, yeah, come check us out.
Awesome. And I'm going to put your link down in the description. I don't know why that slipped my fucking mind. We kind of like scrambled on this earlier. We basically just started messing each other, and we're like, hey, man, let's get some Game of Thrones action going on. And I know I've yet to have a guest on my new podcast series, so that's awesome. Thank you for being my first guest, sir.
Oh, no problem, man.
Go ahead.
No, real quick, man. I just wanted to say thanks. I mean, we know we got daylight savings time. We're all a little freaking off keister, I guess you could say. And I want to thank the people that just jumped over here from Trial by Trivia World to support what we're doing today.
Awesome. And what since you have, I'm not sure, I know you used to be in my chat, but why don't you explain to everyone that doesn't know, real quick, or anyone who's watching this later that doesn't know, explain like what you guys do over there, what your channel's about.
Well, we don't do like, videos, like a lot of other people do about, predictions and stuff like that. Basically what we do is kind of do two different things. What we do is we take YouTubers and we take them, put them all together, and we find out how much they actually fucking know about the stuff that they would like talking about. So we run trivia tournaments. We also support a nonprofit organization, Guardian Angels, Medical Service Dogs, and anybody out there in the community that needs help. That's what we're here for. Everything that we get on our channel goes right back into it. It goes back to you guys. It goes into, helping charities and stuff of that nature. The other thing that we do every week is we have a live chat room trivia. We take the first 7 people that answer in the chat, and we give them points. And basically at the end of every month, we do a giveaway. We give away, whatever you want to do. You can go shopping with Tarzan, and we'll go online and buy some shit, or just give out an Amazon gift card. So everything that we get, even with Patreon, it just goes right back.
Awesome. That's really good. I can't say personally that I've done anything like that. I used to do like volunteering and stuff back in high school. Like it was mandatory. You had to do like 100 hours a year, but I've never thought about doing anything like that. That makes me want to. It's inspiring, man. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. It's a good time. I mean, we're not clean. You know what I mean? I mean, there's cursing and craziness going on for sure. And everybody on my team is batshit crazy. So that adds to the entertainment, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's always good. It's always good to have banter. You know what I mean? That's why people listen to these things. It's good banter. Well, I did a stream last night where I was giving my thoughts on the teaser. So like the new season 7 teaser trailer. I'm not sure if you've expressed your thoughts and opinions on that. So if you want to, you can go ahead and explain to everyone your thoughts on the teaser.
What did you go over on that? Because I mean, a lot of it really, at this point in time, I don't think there's, how do you say? I've always been one, focused on reality instead of batshit theories, dragon shit, unicorns, stuff of that nature. But go ahead and I'll feed off you. How's that sound? Tell me what you kind of went over last night.
Well, I know that there were a couple people in the chat that were talking about how they think the blue eye at the end is one of the dragon's eyes, like that's been turned into a White Walker. What are your thoughts on that? I think personally, I don't know if that's actually going to happen, and I can tell you for a fact that's not what that was. Because for one, like the very first thing I said when people were bringing that up was, there's no way they would give away something like that in a teaser trailer. You know what I mean? It's way too soon. It's like, it's almost like if they were to give away, like last year with the Hall of Faces, if they were to show like Jon opening his eyes. You know what I mean? And no one else had their eyes open. But if Jon had opened their eyes, that would have been like, oh, okay, well, we know he's coming back. That's what we would have taken off of it. You know what I mean? So if they were to give away something like that in the teaser trailer, It's just too soon.
That didn't even look like a dragon eye to me, though.
Exactly. It's like, yeah, it wasn't slit the right way. Like, yeah, it wasn't reptilian in any kind of sense. But
It could be foreshadowing, maybe a major character. I mean, we got to think of that too. We know shit's going to hit the fan. It's very obvious major characters are going to die when this war breaks out. But here's the thing. Some of those fuckers are going to end up being whites if you think about it. It would make sense. Somebody's going to be a white, I guarantee you.
yeah, definitely. I think that's going to be – it would be – that's what another thing that was brought up too was if Hodor was brought back as a white. I think if he's not one of them, I think one of the major ones, whether it's Jaime, Cersei, Brienne, Sansa, any of them, anyone, if they're brought back as a white, I think that would be like almost double as impactful as them just straight up dying. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like we have to relive their death twice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, it could be something heartfelt. It could be something that does punch you in the chest. Like, for example, I know you watched The Walking Dead, like, what was it, Carol's daughter? To watch them have to put her down. They might go that route. It might be somebody that, we're good with, and then all of a sudden they got to put down one of their, obviously, as far as we know, there ain't no turning them, the dead is dead. So
yeah,
having to take down one of your own.
That would be interesting to see if we get like Game of Thrones version of Sophia, where like maybe it's someone even like someone who we were guaranteed to think like if if you start to get into the novels, you will come across quickly learning who George and his wife's favorite characters are, or you will get some sort of preconceived notion of who you think is safe, someone who's going to be safe to the very end. So it would be insane if Game of Thrones version of Sophia is Arya, like maybe, or even Bran, like maybe Bran makes it to the wall. He gives us the information that we needed, even though they said he was going to be like a Luke Skywalker. Everyone doesn't live up to their destination. So what if Bran dies and, once John gets to the wall, he's forced to have to kill him again? That would be nuts.
Yeah, or even like somebody just said in the chat, like Sansa. What if Sansa went over and that's John's decision or Arya's decision to have to take out their own. Well, technically they're already dead anyway. I guess it's the thought process. But I got a 9-year-old, and I was talking to some of my people, and it's like, what would you do if that's not your kid or your family or your best friend anymore, and you got to put them down? It's still a tough decision. It has to be done, but I'd rather you do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think, and it would be even more impactful for us as viewers if it's like one of his family members or one of her family members,
Oh, absolutely.
So, what do you think? Like, honestly, at this point in time, it's going to be over a year before season 7 starts, and really any kind of information or like, I remember I couldn't contain my excitement once we saw that clip of that Davos showed when he was on Conan last year. Do you remember that? Once that happened, and that was I think like 2 weeks before the premiere, I just couldn't take it anymore. I was doing like 3 fucking videos a day. I was live streaming all week. You know what I mean? I don't think that teaser trailer was remotely on the same level as the Hall of Faces was, because it could have just been because John had died, so we had that huge cliffhanger of whether he was coming back. But what do you think, like, on a scale from 1 to 10, or just your opinions in general, what do you think how good they did on the teaser trailer this year? Like, how good was it?
So we're talking about the one with the dragon head statue.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the graphics were great, but how much is really there? And I think a lot of people are overthinking it. You know what I mean? I think that, but I'm always been one of trying to be practical about shit. Especially because about the trivia and everything we do, everything's really based on just hard fact. I don't know. I don't think there was really any big giveaways in that thing. I really don't. I think it was just, some good animation and just enough to get us fucking wondering what was going on. I think last year's had a little more, with the flags. That's what we got last year. So, but they didn't give a shit. There ain't no, I don't even remember no spoken dialogue. Is there?
No. What do you mean? They all, like, each one of the teasers, they all just played dialogue from like previous seasons.
Yeah, there's nothing like the last year. At least we got the dialogue. Like we found out that some of the things that were said when they showed the 3 different flags, you know, it was dialogue from season 6. And this year they're not giving up shit. And now is the other one official where they showed the hand with the Valyrian sword with
Brienne, like someone holding Brienne's sword? I think it is, because it was. I know it's a new, like it was one of the newer things that was released, and it was like, if I'm not mistaken, I found out through Watchers on the Wall, so I know they wouldn't post it if it wasn't.
Now, how legit do you think that is? Because, you know, Dan and Dave, they love to troll fucking people. So
it's sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I honestly just think it's just some, like, a prop master holding the sword. They're just trying to show you that, like, you know, we didn't technically, all we saw of Brienne was she was like rowing away in a boat, almost like the same thing that happened to Gendry. So we don't know whether she made it. They're just trying to let you know, like, okay, she's still alive. You know what I mean?
Well, I think another thing too is that we looked at, you know, a guy that's in the chat right now, Milt. We were looking at it, and you know, people were trying to say, "Oh, that's Widow's Well." Like, no, it's not. Look at the sword, and we brought up the pictures. It's out. It's 100% Oathkeeper. But the other thing is, like, oh, it's Jaime's hand because it's the left hand. If you look at the hand, and then we looked at some pictures of Brienne and Jaime, that's not Jaime's hand. It looks like Brienne's hand. It does, but I think what they might have done is either. I mean, I'm not big on, you know, like, what do you call it? Like, you know, fucking tinfoiling, but kind of coming to my head, they could have very easily, we could do that. You and I could do that right now, is flip that image so the left hand now looks like the right hand. Or the other thing is, what if there is a confrontation between Jaime and Brienne, and she thinks the fair way to deal with it is to fight her with her left hand, which I think she could pull it off.
I don't even know. That's just jumping the gun way too far. I think it's literally just like the prop master. You know what I mean? It's like when people, right after season 6 ended, and like a month later, we got that in production teaser, and people were trying to speculate on shields missing off the wall and all types of shit. You know what I mean? Like they were saying that, oh, there's 6 new eyes painted. You know what I'm saying? That there's going to be 3 people that die in the premiere or something. You can't go by any of that shit. I agree with you where you're saying, like, when it comes to this season, I'm a little bit more hesitant on believing all the hype. You know what I mean? Because of what happened last year with the how crazy some of the shit in that plot leak was, and then some of the stuff it got right. So I'm like you in the sense where I want to be hesitant to believe some of the shit that's coming out, but I don't think anything that we've gotten is like you can really use it to base a solid theory off of. I'm not talking about the plot leak stuff. I'm just saying, like, any of the teasers they've released, pictures included, you can't really go off of anything. They're just letting you know, like, hey, don't forget about us. It's going to be over a year since you have another season and any kind of new content from us. We're just going to keep you guys guessing, especially if they found out the plot leak, especially since they know the plot leak came out and it's probably a lot more accurate this year than it was last year. So they're going to be even more tight-lipped. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely agree. So the release date right now is July 16th, correct?
Yeah.
So we're looking at March, April, May, June, July, 4 months. So that means either I would say late April, May, we should get an actual real trailer.
Yeah, I think, I mean, yeah, we'll probably get another teaser before we even get, like, the big trailer. You know what I mean? Just like you were saying, it was the flags, and then it was the Hall of Faces. And then we got the, like, you know, the actual trailer for the season. So I think, yeah, there'll probably be another teaser trailer where they might actually include some quotes from, you know, some quotes from the up-and-coming season. But I don't think we're going to get the actual trailer until, like you said, yeah, probably like May, the beginning of May, I'd say. Because that's when they're going to, you know, Comic-Con is right around the corner from then. And they're going to want to have all the cast members, all the major cast members, or whoever out there promoting the show. So we might even get like a clip, you know, I'd say by June, by the beginning of June, we'll have at least a clip well, actually, I don't know, because then it would be like 6 weeks. Maybe halfway through June, we'll get an actual clip from the show. And I agree with you. It'll probably be like the end of May, the beginning of June when we get the actual trailer.
February, March. Yeah, I think late April, May, though, because if you remember, they've always been consistent about doing 2 full-length trailers. The first one last year was, you know, they used one of my favorite songs, which was The Wicked Game. And then I don't remember the music to the second one. And So with that time, I think it was like a month and a half. What was it, like 6 to 8 weeks? And then they dropped the second one. So if they're going to drop 2 trailers again, I would think April or May might be the first one. I would think.
Yeah, yeah, late April, May. Yeah. Do you? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said yeah, I agreed with you.
I saw earlier someone had typed in the chat if this was a spoiler-free chat. And I'm not sure. Like I'm current on the stuff for the most part, like with the plot leak and stuff. And I'm not sure if you want to.
I have avoided them spoilers like a plague. I've done a good job. I have seen a couple of what do you call it, like leaked pictures. I haven't read, I haven't done any of the plot leaks or anything like that because, to be honest with you, last year it might have been you actually. Somebody had basically broke down Battle of the Bastards. I was like, this is bullshit. Then I watched the episode, and it kind of really ruined it for me because it was like as soon as I saw Bran come out and he started running across the field, and I'm like, fuck, he's fixed to get shot with it. I knew every fucking thing. The only thing from that episode I didn't know was Ramsay getting his face fucking mowed off. That was the only thing about that episode. Well, of course, the Targaryen scenes that were in there, the Dany scenes, they were not leaked at all. But as far as the the war in the north there, every bit of it, one dying, everything was leaked. So this year I'm doing good so far.
The only reason why Ramsay dying wasn't leaked is because it was filmed inside. You know what I mean? And same with Daenerys, like her scenes. The only reason why those weren't really known is because it was filmed inside. So whatever happened inside is safe from plot leak stuff, spoilers, all that. So
yeah, and I think mostly what we're going to do. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. We're just basically throwing theories out there and what we think is going to happen. I mean, none of this is like on my end. It's definitely not from because, like I said, I've avoided that shit as hard as I could. And so it was like, oh, did you?
Without giving away any kind of information whatsoever, they're pretty crazy. Like it's going to take a lot of forgetting, to not have the show kind of ruined, like you were saying, Battle of the Bastards was for you.
Yeah, I mean that sucked, man. I mean, it really did. And I mean, thing about this show that I do like is the cinematography of it. It whether you want to bitch whether it's not coherent to the fucking books is one thing, but and and all these people that do bitch 90% watch it and they watch every freaking episode, don't miss one, but they're still right there watching it. And the reason for that is because the storyline is still good. But the other thing is every season they seem to up the game on how good it looks. Do you agree?
Yeah, yeah, and that actually brings me into something. I'll comment on what you were just saying. Like it's like for me, I think the biggest one was like before episode 1 premiered. The pictures that happened with Duran in Dorne. Like, do you remember that they had leaked online and fucking someone that I used to do live streams with had posted them on Twitter and was just very blatant about it. I was pissed. That's probably like how I felt the same way you did about Battle of the Bastards. Like that, it just I don't know.
Well, let's see. I mean, yeah, we have what do you call it? Twitter and all that shit. But because we have a team, I can avoid a lot of that shit. So a lot of times when people they'll say something on Twitter, they think they're talking to me. It's not me. I let the girls completely handle that. I'm just not really savvy with and I kind of that's one of the reasons why, because I remember like last year I was trying to mess with Twitter and there were so many, just like the what was it, it was the Hodor episode, and also with the what was it with the dragon glass, the whole thing with that I saw those pictures before I wanted to. And there was one more too. I'm trying to remember what the fuck it was. Oh yeah, it was actually season 6, episode 1. And when I first saw the picture, I thought it was Photoshop because it had Duran, with the where he got stabbed through his tool son there. But it was that leaked picture where he got stabbed through the back of the neck and coming out his nose. It's like some Pinocchio looking. What the fuck is that? But then when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay. That was
Yeah,
real.
dude, it was
You know?
it was I knew immediately because you could see one of the partial sand snake, and I was like, oh look, that's fucking Tristan or Tristan. I was like, God damn it, dude. I was pissed. I like immediately made up the rules. Like anytime there was 3 days leading up to Game of Thrones, I wouldn't be on Twitter at all because it was funny because the whole season, I was like, yeah, I'll do spoilers, I'll talk about spoilers, and then like as soon as it starts, I'm like, no more. I'm fucking done.
Oh yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, I have indulged in some of the, like I said, some of the pictures and stuff like that, and just because I wanted to know if we were going to get certain places. So I want to say to I don't want to upset the chat, but just knowing that we might possibly, it looks like we'll get Lannisport and maybe Highgarden, and that's all I really know, and that's enough for me to get excited about it and do my own kind of like in my head theories of what I think might happen.
I don't know if Lannisport. I know we're bordering on that fence line of spoilers, but I don't know if Lannisport was in. This could be because I have been doing a negligent job with following the confirmed spoilers, unlike the plot leak.
Cassidy
But
Rock, that's what I
yeah, I don't. Well, no, I don't even know. I don't know if it was. I think Highgarden is for sure like a thing, but I don't know if we'll get to see. I would love to. So it'd be awesome.
Well, my people, they know that like one of my big things is what they call the 7 ancient wonders of the world. And we know George likes history. Throughout this show, there are a lot of call outs to that. I don't know if you know them well, but like the High Tower, we finally got to see that. That's basically the Lighthouse of Alexandria. There's a lot of stuff from history. Obviously, the Titan of Bravos is in reference to the Colossus of Rhodes, and there's a lot of those. I always pictured Highgarden in my head. I was like, okay, if he's going to use anything from history, it'd be like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. And I did see a picture of a castle, and it had the green screens draped over the side. And the old, of course, there's no pictures. That shit's old as hell. But the pictures, the drawings, I'm like, oh wow, that right there very possibly could be Highgarden, and that's why I kind of strongly believe we will see it, because it would make sense that where all those green screens are hung over these walls would be flowers, be floral arrangements.
Yeah, that would be insane. I know from like textbook pictures of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, it's still like I think there's been famous paintings on it before. It looks gorgeous. I will say this: not only like what you were talking about with the green screens over the side, but it's double confirmed. There are a few other things with like certain people were seen in that location, so you can kind of tell what it is. I would love to. Well, I can't even say that. I gotta keep. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, like I said, even like when we got the Citadel, if you know your history, another thing that looks like that pays homage to is like the Library of Alexandria, and hopefully it doesn't suffer the same fate. Like I said, I don't do spoilers, but the thing is, I know history, and for many years they basically tried to ransack it. It was the Roman Catholics as well as like the what do you call them, the Muslims, the fucking Genghis Khan type people and all that. And the reason why they wanted it to go away is because it was based more on science and fact. And they believed a lot of that kind of proved both of their religions wrong. So I don't think that'll come into play here, because just the way the storyline's going, maybe more so in the books. But
you're talking about if someone took out the Maesters?
Well, yeah,
like
the
that
Citadel.
Would be...
Yeah, because I know the fate, if it is, relevant, because, the Library of Alexandria is very similar. It had tons and tons and tons of basically factual shit, like Dead Sea Scrolls, stuff of that nature. But the other thing is it also had artifacts. Like one of the things that had escaped from there was a compass. And it wasn't a compass like, north, south, east, and west. When you turned it, it was like the movement of the stars. Okay. And this thing is dated back, before Christ. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to say is like, I don't know if you ever heard kind of like that theory that, maybe they're going to do this in this story too, that things kind of reset themselves, even though we get so far.
You're talking about the astrolabe and like how there's a maester that's basically telling the entire story.
Yeah, that too. But I mean, if you look around and you watch that scene again, it looks like there's more artifacts and shit laying around too. And how much of that, of the Citadel have we seen? Yeah, I think there's a lot of shit there.
Yeah, I think to kind of touch on what you were saying about, I'm not familiar with the Library of Alexandria, like honestly at all. I had heard about it before, and honestly, listening to you talk about it refreshed me a little bit. But I think that would be an interesting parallel if we get someone like, the only person who's really strong in the religion, and I guess the Maesters could prove it. Otherwise, would be like for the TV show would maybe be the red priest, the red god.
Yeah.
So if that were the case, I know it's probably different for the books. We could say that Euron might be one of those people who wants to destroy it once he gets what he needs from it, so no one else can, know what he knows or whatever. But I think that would be a very interesting parallel to see on the show. I don't know if we have enough time to get. Although, here's the thing. It could easily be, and I don't know if this is venturing into spoiler territory, but it could easily be ransacked so that we don't have that knowledge to fall back on about how to fight the White Walkers. You know what I mean? Old Town might be getting rid of just for that. Like the one person we have that was just recently there. I know. Have you? Wait, I guess I can't talk about that because you don't know any of the recent, like you don't do confirmed castings and stuff like that. You don't follow.
Well, yeah, I do know. I mean, and some of y'all, you might want to mute your shit here for about 5 minutes. But I that what God, I can't remember his name. One of the actors from fucking Harry Potter is
Jim Broadbent.
Yeah, one of the Maesters, and I do know, of course, Gendry's coming back.
Okay, so well, yeah, that's like what I was saying. Like if he ends up playing, out of process of elimination, whether recent spoilers or not, it's we all kind of hinted that he was going to be Maester Marwyn. So it would be interesting to see him around for a little bit. But knowing the show, they're probably going to do similar to what they did with Brother Ray, elder brother or whatever. They're going to have him around and then kill him off. So his arc might be. I'm not even going to mention that, but I'm just saying, yeah, it would be cool to see that.
But he's confirmed, I think, for like at least 4 episodes, isn't he?
Nope. Yeah, I didn't want to say that. Yeah, he said he was going to be in 5 episodes. I didn't want to say that because I didn't know if you had read that. But yeah, and he said it was going to be with Sam, like with the actor who plays Sam too. So.
Oh yeah, that makes the most sense. I mean, and he's Marwyn the Mage, so that's more of we never know what route they're going to go. They kind of veer away from a lot of the more. The magic and shit like that. I mean, we do get some of it in Game of Thrones, but the books, of course, way more in depth. But
I could see what might like a potential that might happen. I don't know if Sam will probably be spending all of his time in the library, obviously. So I think the way Sam may get introduced to him, and this is kind of my prediction. This is not like a known spoiler from the plot leak or anything, but I think the way that Sam might get introduced to him is like Sam will be in the library spending a lot of time in a certain section, and maybe he'll run into Maester Marwyn in that section trying to learn about how to make Valyrian steel or just something of the magical arts where we know Maester Marwyn is known for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, if we want to get a little too, I mean, obviously they have Valyrian steel there because one of the links is Valyrian steel, which represents the higher mysteries. So hey, you never know. There might be a damn another storyline. I don't know if we'll get that though, because
no, you got a good point there. You got a good point there. That may be the way that we figure out how the fuck to forge Valyrian steel again. There's no way, because they all say, they even make a point of it to say on the show, they forge it themselves. So how the fuck do you get, what do they give them, a little Valyrian steel ingot, and then they're forced to learn how to, if I'm not mistaken, to forge it into that, to forge a sword. The dude that did it, that took down ice and made the other day, people got pissed at me in the live stream for not saying it right, or one person did, but it was Widow's Bane and Oathkeeper, who I guess later becomes Oathkeeper. When Tywin was doing that, the person he had forging the steel was a pretty muscular dude, but I guess the Maesters could do it since it's just a small link. I think it's more like they know the chemical process or the alchemical process of how to make Valyrian steel. I don't think it's like there's no way. I mean, I guess they could, and the show might go that route just because it would be easier. Actually, no, it would be easier to have them because then Sam could be taught how to do it. And then once he gets back to the wall, he starts forging all these Valyrian steel weapons. So I think the way they're going to do it on the show is just like what you said. They know how to do it. They know the process of how to make it. It probably involves dragon glass and like, other shit. But I think that's how we're going to learn how to make Valyrian steel, which is ultimately going to help everyone.
They're giving you shit already. It's Widow's. You said Widow's Bane. It's
oh my God. That's what I said last time. See, I did it on purpose. Widow's Bane is from a fucking, oh man, it's from like, I watch so many different fantasy shows and shit. Like, oh, my knowledge gets like mixed up all the time. Honestly, it's funny to me when I'm watching it afterwards because I'm like, damn, I just said something completely wrong. And everyone freaked out like I just spilled hot coffee on them or something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I get it too. If you say one wrong thing, even like when we make questions and they're just like, well, that's controversial. And it's like, we do this YouTube thing to fucking talk about the shit we like talking about. We ain't never claim to be perfect. Shit happens, man.
Hell yeah. But yeah, I like that you said that, dude. That's probably gonna be in watch. I guarantee you. Look, Tarzan, there's gonna be like, probably like 5 theory videos coming out from, some of these newer cats on how Valyrian steel is gonna be brought to the masses in season 7, and it's gonna be a whole bunch of people like, hey, look, Sam's gonna learn how to forge Valyrian steel from Maester Marwyn. He's gonna carry that process to the wall and start forging arrowheads, daggers, swords, all types of shit, man.
Well, yeah, just kind of like theorizing, and it's something that would make sense. I mean, I'm not saying that would happen, but if the maesters are aware and they have the knowledge there in literature on that Valyrian steel or dragon glass is something that will take out. Obviously, it was known at one time, or they wouldn't. Like when we saw, it was Sam that found the dragon glass and shit in the horn. So they know that they're. I mean, it was known in the past. There are certain things that'll take them out. So you would think that knowledge is there, and if that knowledge is there, there's no saying there might be a small. I mean, maybe some of these swords have disappeared, kind of like. And I'm going to piss some people off here. A lot of people believe, like with the Catholics, and that they have like, the catacombs underneath, and there's a lot of artifacts and shit underneath there. So it could be the same thing that it would make sense. Like, okay, look, we know that Valyrian still kills White Walkers. Why would we not have some here? Some of these artifacts.
Yeah. I was reading the chat over there, and like I know this is getting sidetracked real quick, but yeah, like Septa Shana was saying, it takes like 100. What was it? Let me read it exactly so I don't butcher it. But she said it's 100 times harder to make a vid than it is to complain about one. You know what I mean? And that's like the biggest thing.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, we just kind of started bullshitting on Twitter this morning. We're like, yeah, let's get on here and talk some shit. And that's what we're doing. And, the one thing is, some of these people, they take them so freaking serious, but with shit, well, anything that I say, it makes sense. It's possible. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to tell you that a dragon's going to shit a unicorn. It's not going to happen. Now, I'm not, these people are still convinced that R plus L doesn't equal J. Y'all are batshit crazy, because one thing about Dan and Dave, good show on film, but they're not real good at, I mean, and I'm not discrediting them because I love the show, but it's just like everything that's happening is already, I mean, why do they keep talking about Rhaegar? They're not talking about these other characters, Ashar, they're not talking about them, and all these other theories you're bringing in, they would have at least mentioned them at this point in time. And the big problem that I have is like with all these new theories and adding all these, they're going to add this character. Lady Stoneheart ain't coming back. I'll eat 6 Carolina Reapers if she comes back on goddamn film. I'll do it on Mark's channel. She's not coming back. It's too late. We have 13.
That would probably get 1 million views because those are the hottest peppers on earth, and you eat 6 of them. That would be fucking insane. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all good, man. But it's like, it just kills me that everybody wants to add these new theories. But remember, people, you got 13 to 15 episodes. That's it. They're wrapping this shit up. Okay, they're not doing a season 9. It's not happening. Okay, so
Yeah, they
keep that
want.
in your head.
Yeah, honestly, Dan and Dave, like as much as we love to bash them and stuff, honestly, I feel like I'm pretty lenient. I don't bash them too much, and that's because I discovered the show first, and then later discovered the source material. You know what I mean? So I think I don't
Yep.
bash them too hard. But one thing we have to remember is they have a life. They, you know, if I'm not mistaken, both of them are married and they have kids, so they want to get back to that. You know what I mean? So the Game of Thrones has taken up this when the show ends. Finally, it will probably be we're looking at like 2019 at this rate. You know what I mean? When everything's all said and done, that's almost 10 years working on a TV show that, yeah, they make a lot of money off of, but also they spend a lot of time and effort into doing it because honestly, if those two hadn't have had that initial meeting with George, who the fuck would have been able to bring it to television? You know what I mean? No one, because George wrote it intentionally, making it impossible to form it to any kind of movie. Or he had his, like, you know, recently I've been listening to a lot of interviews and shit that George has been doing, where he talks about, you know, how he thinks science fiction and fantasy are the same thing, and like he had did his thing with Hollywood, writing scripts for movies, and he didn't like it. You know what I mean? So when he set out to write these books, he's like, I don't want to do the Hollywood thing. I'm kind of done with that. I don't want to bring this shit to television. And Dan and Dave were the people that were able to do it. No one else was. So that's what you got to remember, no matter how much you hate. And obviously, like you had mentioned, not bringing in characters like, okay, they're pretty detrimental. There's no Ashara POV chapter, but she's still pretty detrimental to the story. You know, like leaving out characters like her, or shitting on Bloodraven's story and not explaining how he is a Targaryen. You know what I mean? Shit like that. Like, yeah, you can get mad at them, but when it comes down to it, you can't get that mad because they were the ones who were able to bring us this 10 years of this television show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's like you said, you and I both. I got into this book world from the show. I'm fixing to kill my neighbor. Anyway, sorry, but yeah, I mean, and that's just it. I mean, we started with the show, and a lot of us came from the show to the books, and then they read the books, and they're like, oh, you know, of course, like any book, there's shit left out. You know, I mean, there was shit. I remember it was the opposite with like Rings for me. I had read the book so many times as a kid, and there were certain scenes I was waiting on, and they didn't even give them to me. I was like, "You son of a bitches!" And that's gonna happen.
What books were you talking about? The mic cut out when you said that.
Oh, okay, like the Lord of the Rings books. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I read those. They talk about the Rangers and stuff. I was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see them on film." Never got them. Never happened. So yeah, that's gonna happen. I mean, you got to appreciate one for one and one for the other. I mean, it's a great world.
Yeah, speaking of, you know, Lord of the Rings, like I've found about, you know, the books, Game of Thrones books came out in the 90s originally, but I found about Lord of the Rings like in 5th grade. I saw the Hobbit cartoon. I don't know, you remember the one from the 70s? I saw that in class and I was like, this is insane. I'm getting to watch a fucking cartoon in school. So obviously that made me pay more attention to it. Then a few years later, we get Lord of the Rings. And then I watched all those movies, obsessed with them. So that was my first. When I was watching that, that's when I realized, okay, I love fantasy. You know what I mean? I like used to write like my own little short stories and stuff. Like I'm like, all right, so the whole idea of being able to be a knight or a king, I'm enthralled with that kind of shit. So Lord of the Rings is, if I hadn't had Lord of the Rings, it wouldn't have brought me to like being obsessed with Game of Thrones like I am now. You know what I mean? In one of those podcasts with George, is like, I don't even know how we got to talking about this crazy subject. I guess it's more like I just want to say it to get it off my chest. But anyway, like George is saying, is like he's a big fan of J.R. Tolkien. Obviously, it's probably one of his favorite authors. But his thing with his books is like at the end, it's Aragorn reigned for 400 years, and he was a good king. You know, George's approach to that is, what was his politics towards the people? You know, did he slaughter the 10,000 remaining orcs after Sauron died? You know what I mean? And that's the type of shit that also gets cut out from the movies. Okay, so now I see where I was going with that. That's like, well, you know how you were saying you were pissed off that they left a lot of stuff out. And that's the stuff that I'm just now learning to be mad about, because I'm like finding out shit more about the Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? So it's almost like we kind of have to be, you have to be content with what you get, but you can also still state your opinion on it because you're allowed to. You know what I mean? You don't, if you love something, you're allowed to hate it. You know what I mean? Like you're allowed to hate on it, I guess. You can't, I don't know.
Yeah, but then again, like I said before, you know what though? Even the ones that are bitching about, you know, Dan and Dave, I guarantee you they watched all 7 episodes this season. I guarantee you they did.
Yeah, like everything else ceases to exist once it comes on. You know what I mean? I might hate the episode, which I don't. My you know, I have high expectations, but it's like I said, it's pretty hard for me to uh be pissed off at Game of Thrones because even their subpar is still the greatest on television. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, and that's just. I mean, fuck. Well, you know, it's kind of hypocritical that you're going to sit there and then you're going to watch it and then you're going to bitch about it, but you're watching it. If you hate it that much, what the fuck are you watching it for?
Change the
It's
channel.
just there's just people that want something to bitch about, man. But again, I mean, season 5 I did not really like. There was some cool shit in there, but it was kind of lame. And season 6, honestly, you know, the episode 10 was probably one of my favorite episodes. I mean, it was just packed from front to end.
Yeah, the
And
first 10 minutes with you know, where we have Lancel walking underneath the sept, figuring out what's happening, you know, the crazy ass music that I love to use for my theory videos, you know, that you know, that like creepy ass piano
yeah,
beat, like
yeah.
everything about that episode was supreme. So if we have to go back, I think season 6. I'm not even gonna sit here and pick through season 6 because honestly it was great. But if we jump back to season 5, obviously Sansonex, fuck that. They screwed the whole shit with Dorne. You know what I mean? So I'm not a big fan of this. The bad pussy. You know what I mean? Not at all. So that's probably one thing that I could say that I critique the show on. But honestly, even though that was shitty, and I didn't like the way the fight scene was uh between Jamie and, you know, when they came out with the whips and shit, I wasn't a big. It almost looked like it was like barely rehearsed. It wasn't very good. It wasn't well choreographed in my opinion, but just little shit like that. But even still, it still was, you know, amazing because it's Game of Thrones.
And another thing is too that you bring it up. You know, I mean, another thing about episode. Well, fuck. When did she come in? Was it 8 or 9? Um, One of the wardrobe designers, one that designed like Cersei's dress and all that. She just had come back, and I know she's confirmed for all of next season and season 8. So we know wardrobe wise, everything should look fucking amazing. Because I can't remember her name, and I apologize for that, but she's definitely got her shit together. I mean, you know, the looks that they had, if you think about it, if you really go back and watch, you know, the last couple, especially the last episode, everybody looks really good. The costume design is fucking fantastic. You know, even when you see the scenes, like, you know, even the minor ones, like, you know, just Sansa talking to Baelish, we pay attention to see what the hell she's going to do, and she's going to fall for his bullshit. But, you know, I'm just one of those people. I like the aesthetics of how things look. You know what I mean? The scene itself is beautiful. And like I said, the costume design is great. The one thing, and you probably, maybe you'll agree with me on this, is no Miguel Sapochnik in season 7. That a little bit.
Yeah, he's the guy that directed the episode where John got stabbed and the Purple Wedding, right? Is that him?
He did Battle of the Bastards. He did episode 10. What else did he do? My people, somebody will tell me here in a minute, I'm sure. Fuck, he did 2 other episodes too further back. No George writing any of them either. I'll tell you why. You know, I always have a little reluctancy with Dan and Dave because I'm a Deadpool fan and stuff like that. And what they did, you know, which one, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was DB. But what they did to that Wolverine movie was fucking horrendous. And I hope to God they don't.
Which Wolverine? You're not talking about Logan, right? I haven't seen that yet. Are you talking about Logan?
No. I'm talking about the first one where they fucking sewed Deadpool's mouth shut and shit.
Oh, you're talking about yeah, okay, Logan's origin story or whatever. X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Piece of shit on film. You take an amazing character like Wolverine and do that to him. And yeah, you gotta remember that was, I can't think it was DB. I'm like, you son of a bitch. You know that? How can you? It was horrible, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I think it will be interesting. I think the reason why they don't have the reason why they don't have George on is because he probably maybe doesn't want to be associated with the way they're going to take season 7 or season 8. And he hasn't written anything since season 5, I don't think. And they probably, you know, there's really no need to have him do that because they're so far off book now going into season 7. You know what I mean? And I think that honestly, they're going to have the same ending because that was what their goal was, but their routes are going to be so different. It's almost like what will happen after that, after the last book comes out will be what people pictured happens differently on the show. Because, like, Stannis will probably still be alive come the last book. You know what I mean? In my opinion. So I think that since you have certain characters like that going certain ways, they're gonna be the ones that are left in the book, and then the ones that are left in the show, it's still a similar idea because they arrived at the same ending. But I think he doesn't want to associate himself with that. And I think he's already finished Winds of Winter, and I think he's already halfway through A Dream of Spring. He's just waiting for the show to get towards its last season before he even drops anything, because he wants people to be able to enjoy his books, separately from the show. Obviously, they're they're the same entity, but they're different, and you got to be able to separate yourself and enjoy the two. You know what I mean? And he's trying to make it easier for people. But because honestly, he says that he doesn't go online and look at what people's predictions are, and he doesn't check websites. But I think that's a load of crap. He said he did before, and someone got something right. I think he still checks, and a lot of the people on Reddit and a lot of us YouTubers have gotten certain shit right. So he's keeping it open for him to be able to do edits. You know what I mean? All the time.
So I'm trying to see what these fuckers are writing in the chat. Well, that's another thing too. I mean, the trolling
your audio is bugging out again.
Oh shit! All right, hang on. Let's see if it will let me re-enter. Hang on.
Did you just disconnect? Oh shit. Oh, there he is. I was like, I looked down for a split second because I was like drinking my water, and I was like, oh man, he dropped out. You back?
Yeah. Is the audio better now?
Yep. Sounds good.
Shit, where the fuck were we, man? Just bullshit.
You were asking. They had said it was Hard Home, the other episode that Miguel Sapochnik had directed.
Yeah. How the hell did I forget that? And that's just it. I mean, that's another fucking great fucking episode too. Ooh, let's see what we got in here. Hey, Jedi. Oh shit, my people are coming in here one at a time. That's awesome. Good to see you guys here. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about George. Articles that had said that he was done with, then it was, it was going through proofreading and then final editing, and then you read something else, and it's just like you don't know what to freaking believe. There's the latest rumor is that it might drop on his birthday, which I think is in September. I think. I'm not sure on that.
I haven't heard that. I need to look that up.
Yeah, I mean, they anytime anything drops, we have like this big chat on Hangouts, and everybody's constantly dropping stuff and sharing articles, and it's pretty cool. But again, a lot of them you got to take with a grain of salt because nothing's really confirmed until George fucking publicly makes an announcement release date. You might as well just hold your breath. So.
Hell yeah. I think I'm still sticking to the date that Winds of Winter will be out in Christmas 2025. We would probably be in the third season of the spinoff. Speaking of which, we can talk about that next real quick, and then we'll take questions for like another 10 minutes, and I'll probably be wrapping it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think spinoff action? Where do you land with that? Are you one of the Roberts?
Nobody agrees. Again, I have two, and one of them people think I'm crazy about, and the other one, well, obviously makes sense because Game of Thrones has the right to Robert's Rebellion. I don't think that you're going to get like the Dance of Dragons. Yes, we would all love that, but I think that's something maybe George should talk to, cinema wise. Do like a Star Wars thing and do like 3 of them. You know what I mean?
Even though he said even though he said he's done with Hollywood.
I'm just giving, voicing my opinion. I mean, if you want to pull something like that off, that would be the route to go. But who knows? The guy's getting old, and he might want to just, cash in a couple checks. You never know. But Robert's Rebellion makes sense because we know HBO has the rights to that. The other one is kind of out there, and because there's been but again, I like basing things on fact. He had done an interview, I think it's been a couple of years now, but they asked him basically, it had already been confirmed that he's going to, working on another project with HBO that would be related to this world. And then people were, throwing Duncan Egg and all this at him. He was like, well, you got to remember this too. And because he said that, I was like, wait a minute, why are you saying that? And he said, 100 stories untold in Westeros. There's another 200 plus stories in Essos. And there's hundreds and hundreds of stories in lands we haven't seen yet. I was like, so that would make sense that maybe he works out something with them to actually go off script. And, I do know I love Maisie Williams to death, but I think if she could do Game of Thrones for the rest of her life, she'd do it. I believe that. But here's the thing. Then we had a couple other little things that kind of you remember when she was heading to Westeros and she was talking to Jack and he said basically, where are you going to go? And she's like, what's Westeros? He's like, nobody knows, basically. Yeah, exactly. So I think that could be another thing. They might just try to take some of these characters. We don't know who's going to live. And, I think we might get something off of that. That way, the book purists can't bitch because it's off script.
Exactly. I think I said that. I don't know whether it was in a live stream on my channel or something else. I said that exact thing. I was like, that would be something definite to base it off of. Westeros. Hell yeah, dude. I think the only way to do it is to do it, off of something completely new. That way you would appease everyone. Just like Westworld kind of did with their original story of the original Westworld theme park and then took and put their own spin on it. You know what I mean? And look how that turned out.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, and that's another thing too. A lot of people try to jump in that bandwagon, and I don't really want to get into Westworld, but shit, we got 2 years before you're going to see anything from them.
That's what they say. But I think that's what they say, but I think that's a lie. I think that's just to keep us off of their trails, like we are with Game of Thrones. They can film that show anywhere. We don't know anything about it. We don't know who's directing. I think that it'll be out a lot sooner. I think they wanted to give themselves plenty of time, but I think since Game of Thrones is being pushed back so far, they're making all of that fucking money from Game of Thrones. That's probably what it is. It's like they're delayed. They're using Game of Thrones profit to help put back into Westworld, and they want Westworld to be, Game of Thrones replacement. And then eventually, maybe sometime down the line, we might get a spinoff, like a mini series, 6 episodes or something of like Robert's Rebellion. And then they can do 6 episodes of, the last Blackfire Rebellion. So we get to see like characters when they were younger. We get to see like if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Barristan Selmy part of the last Blackfire Rebellion?
Yeah.
9 Penny Kings and stuff. It would be cool to see something like that. But that's another thing that I was saying. I think a safe route would be like people know A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It's 3 novels or whatever, and George hasn't finished written those yet. So I feel like that would be also a good precursor because it would tie in a lot of the missing loopholes. Like we get to see Walder Frey when he was a child. It would we get to see if I'm not mistaken, Old Nan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be cool. What do you think about that? Do you think Duncan Egg would make a good prequel series?
I don't know. I think it would make. I think it would be good, but I don't know. I mean, there's not a lot of Duncan Egg, and those books aren't long. I think really because you got to think of it from a production standpoint. With if I was HBO, I'm like, okay, I really still kind of feel the way I do about those 2 things. You got Robert's Rebellion, you got everybody's interest, and now you go back and we were going to see, to see a younger Robert and him fucking just, smashing chest plates in with that Warhammer. That would be epic. A lot of these other characters that are very briefly mentioned, going into details, because there's not a lot on, there's not a lot to go on. So that's kind of an open book too.
Well, that's where they can play that to their advantage, because honestly, if you're watching the show and you read the books, that you would think they didn't have much to go on. You know what I mean? So that might play to their advantage, where they don't have as in-depth of and as a developed story as they do with the Game of Thrones, where when they cut out major characters, they piss us the fuck off. They wouldn't have to do that with the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which I think makes it even better. They can fit. They could honestly probably get 5 to 7 seasons out of what the contents of those books. You know what I mean? Like they could easily stretch that. They could add certain things. They could even do certain things with certain characters that will make book fans happy because it didn't happen in the original series. They have the budget to do it. I know there's not as many dragons around, but that could be even more. We don't have to worry about doing giant battles with fucking actual giants and then, hordes of zombies and stuff, because we know that, they wouldn't be in that storyline. It would be cool.
And Robert's Rebellion too. I mean, it would be.
Yeah. That's a lot of war, though, and those big war scenes, that could be almost as budget killer as a CGI dragon would be.
Yeah, you're right. And another thing is too, everybody, they say, oh, they killed dire wolves and stuff because of CGI. I'm like, if you are not paying attention again to like the aesthetics, there's more than just the dire wolves that are CGI'd. A lot of these backgrounds are CGI'd. And if you see some of the filming locations, they have giant green screens freaking everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what you do with Game of Thrones, there's going to be CGI. There's no way around it because of the look. There's no way to capture that, naturally. I mean, God, that would cost a shit ton of money to sit there and try to build all that shit.
Yeah. I mean, they do a pretty bang up job with all the exotic, crazy places they film at. They do a pretty good job. I think there was a couple. I saw a post on Reddit one time where they were the soldiers that came to greet Daenerys in like season 3 were like totally book on, and that was one of the episodes that George had directed or whatever. So I think him having like leaving the show in season 5 is really going to affect. Well, and here's the thing too: people can get mad in season 7, but really, how mad could they get? Because Dan and Dave had to they knew the same goal, but they had to take their own. They knew they were going to pass the show, so they I don't know. But yeah, if you had any more thoughts on the potential prequel series, you can go ahead and share that with us right now. If not, I'm just going to take. Or we can just take some questions for like the next 5 to 10 minutes and then probably be wrapping it up shortly after that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I think we're right at like 57 minutes. But yeah, did you have anything that you wanted to say to add on to the prequel? Like any other ideas for certain time periods?
No, I agree pretty much. I'm going to stand where I stand on that. I really think to put my money on it, I think it's probably going to be Robert's Rebellion because they're going to try to play it safe and, and stick with what's working, what I mean, money wise and what's making them money. So we'll see. I mean, they might go off. I mean, because I would like to see the Ashai. I would like to see, Satherios, however you want to pronounce it.
Yeah, Sothrios or whatever. That would be pretty interesting. I'd like to know about Ashai. Maybe it's just because I want to know, or honestly, Valyria. You know what would be awesome? If they did like a 2-hour movie on the doom of Valyria and we got to see the beginning of Aegon's conquest. Like, yeah, just like something like that. Like, I don't know. I'm fire and blood, man. I've been Targaryen all the way, but I would love to see that.
No, I totally agree. Who knows what the fuck they're going to do, but, it's fun to talk about it. I mean, like I said, if when I try to think of it from, just a business standpoint, and that's how HBO is going to look at it, that's what they do with all their shows, is it's going to make sense to, I don't know, they might go, I mean, yeah, I'm still kind of torn. I'm kind of 50-50, but I'd probably lean maybe 51% towards probably Robert's Rebellion.
Yeah, it's easier. They don't have to do as much explaining for the what I call the ASW average show watcher. It would be a lot easier for them to follow. Oh, okay, so this is the original king from season 1. This is what he had to do to become king. And then they'd be like, they'd be thinking like, oh, okay, so now we know why he was called usurper. Now we get to see a young Sean Bean. We have backstory on the Starks even more so. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Absolutely. I still, I'm not convinced. I think they could do any of them, but it depends. I would say the least likely and, and I don't say that, out of hate in any way, would be, anything to do with like the Dance of Dragons. It's just, I don't think the budget, they'd have to have a Game of Thrones budget they have like for this season. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for every season. I think that might, if they did do something with the Dance of Dragons, it might be after Westworld. So they got Westworld money to work on. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that is obviously the one I would like to see, but it's not going to happen. There's no freaking way. All the dragons and that would be the shit. But I don't think it's no, I don't think it's going to happen. The budget would be insane. The storyline would be insane and fucking awesome, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah. I actually want to get your thoughts on this real quick, and then we'll just take a few questions. There was one from Lav, and she said, "Will Felicia go on a Patriots rant on Friday?" Not sure what that.
Oh, who knows? What that's about? Like I said, I try when I'm a guest and somewhere. Let's talk about what you want to talk about. On my channel, Trial by Trivia is one of my anchors, one of my aces. And but she definitely talks too damn much, and she knows I love her death. Goddamn. Friday we're doing it live, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're doing a St. Patrick's Day trivia. I usually don't condone this, but it was suggested by Mill and some of the other people, like you should do like a live drinking trivia. And I'm like, okay, let's do it, but let's do it trial by trivia style. So what we'll do is like how you have people in your chat. We'll go through and write down all the names, and then we'll draft those people. And then we have like a scoring system. So basically, the person on the panel, their team that scores the lowest every question, their team's drinking. So, and if Felicia is on a losing team, and when she drinks, she rants. So it'll be interesting, man. Definitely come check it out. So,
yeah, for sure, I'll be there. I gotta double check next year, see if I don't work or not. But either way, I'll watch it afterwards. But yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, I don't even want to bring that up now that I've thought about it some more while you were speaking. It would probably make this thing like another 30 minutes. I'll say that for next time. Next time I have you on, we'll discuss that. But if there's any questions in the chat, I'm scanning it right now. I'm trying to see if I missed any, but I don't think there were. Okay, wait. How much time will they spend on the attorney at Harrenhal, and how much depth will they go into it? And that's from Jedi Master Cheryl. Did you want to take that?
In my opinion, again, I'm on this whole thing. We're only getting 7 episodes this season, so basically, it's probably going to be brand flashback, and it's probably going to take up probably a similar amount of time that maybe the Tower of Joy did. Like, it's not going to be this big drawn out thing. I don't think so at all. There's just not enough time.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. It's almost like, will it be Bran screen time or Bran and flashback screen time? You know what I mean? Will he have pivotal scenes with main characters, or will he be straight up like hooked up to the Weirwood net the entire time? And we're seeing Bran, but it's through flashback. As far as how much time we'll get at the Tourney in Harrenhal, I think it'll be equivalent to how much time we got at the scene with Bran walking through Winterfell with Bloodraven. So that was over the course of 2 episodes, and it was probably like maybe 20 minutes total. Tourney Harrenhal, a lot more stuff happened there, but I think they're going to leave out the plot. I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me, but the plot of the Night of the Laughing Tree, that might be left out. And I think what may be focused on is Rhaegar giving her the crown of the crown of blue winter roses. That's going to be the major point they focus on. And then like him and her sneaking off and making out somewhere. You know what I mean? I think that's it. I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, people are going to be pissed.
The Harrenhal itself, I think people are going to be disappointed, because I think it's really going to be kind of like, okay, there's a comparison, like the turning of the hand. I think you might get maybe that much of it. You know what I'm saying? Just enough to show you the defeat, and and then basically, I think from there, any flashbacks involving that are going to be more maybe a marriage or something. I don't know for sure, but you know what I'm saying? I think it's going to lean towards people finding out that Rhaegar didn't kidnap her. You know what I mean? That's going to be the big thing. I think that the actual tourney of Harrenhal is not going to be grand in any way, even though it'd be nice, but it ain't going to happen.
It'd be cool to see, an even younger Howland Reed too, to to do that, but I'd like the Night of the Laughing Tree, but I don't know. I think it's just gonna be like they're just gonna touch on the major points. You know what I mean? Just like with Ned, if we ever go and find out what happens after the Tower of Joy, we probably won't see. I know that Ned returns it to Starfall, and then that that could be potentially when we get to see Ashara, but just because it wasn't really mentioned. Arthur was mentioned, but it wasn't like, oh, Robert or anyone else who spoke with Ned when he was still alive. They were never like, oh, you remember that big crush on your head on Ashara Dane? Or you remember the last time you saw her? Some shit. No, that was never brought up for the show, so it wouldn't have much relevance. So I think what may happen is you'll see that Ned took the sword with him back to Winterfell with Jon, and he never. That's how the show is going to probably do it. I would love to see Starfall, or I just don't. I don't know, man. I know that that's kind of a bold statement there, but I just don't think. I think we're going to find out that it's at Winterfell, and then Bran's going to find out about that, and then we'll have an extra Valyrian steel sword. Like, that's the way the show's going to go. That's the kind of corners they're going to be cutting coming up.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense.
I think what plays into that, this is what I wanted to bring up earlier, and I guess we'll just talk about this real quick and then wrap it up because it doesn't look like there's too many questions. There was one more from Pooh Bear. We'll answer that one too. But John was actually doing an interview. Kit Harington was doing an interview with the Huffington Post earlier this week, and in it, he was explaining how season 7, he's done way more filming for his character than he's ever done in any season ever. And he said Cross are passing characters who have never met each other. And he thinks everyone in general is going to be getting more screen time, like more screen time with the main characters. So with that being said, I don't know how much time is going to be spent on something like, flashbacks, unless it's detrimental to the story, which to us it is because we're fans, and any kind of extra knowledge we can get is amazing, or at least confirmations of stuff that we know in the books. Like it's nice to see shit like that play out on screen. But what do you think about that? Do you think that that's going to affect, with Kit saying what he said about how everyone's going to be getting more screen time? Do you think that means that it's almost like he was saying it's safe for certain main characters because they have a lot of screen time, or what?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, obviously, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that everybody's going to have to come together for this great war. That's what this is all about. And that's what they've said over and over. Everybody's worried about, the petty shit, like who's going to sit on the throne. But, the great war is yet still to come. So basically, you have to integrate. And that's what they've been doing, especially a lot in the last season. It's like, they're breaking it. They're killing fuckers off and they're breaking it down. Storylines are going to start integrating. Like, Davos is with Jon. So, I mean, a lot of these, and then hopefully here soon, maybe Arya, she's going to join up, and then Bran should be on his way over there to Winterfell as well. So it looks like everything's going to come together. But real quick, going back, as long as we have Bran in the show, we're getting flashbacks. I would pretty much say that's 98% confirmed, Yeah. Obviously, some more of the past, and then probably, more White Walker stuff. I would. And then, at some point in time, Sam, I would guess, would have to join up with the North as well, too, to relay the knowledge that whatever he gets. And then that's, again, and that's, none of that's confirmed, but, that's what makes the most sense to me. But,
Yeah. Real quick, I'm gonna put your link down in the description. Jedi Master Cheryl says, this is Tarzan from Trial by Trivia. I'm gonna put his link in the description as soon as we wrap this up. But the last question that we're gonna answer is from Pooh Bear, and he or she says, do you think we will see Howland Reed in the show? And if so, season 7 or 8? And if you don't mind, sir, I'll answer real quick. We have seen Howland Reed. We saw him at the Tower of Joy flashback. You want to take it from here?
I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
They were asking like when we were going to see Howland Reed, and I said we've already seen him. And basically, like I was leaving to you to answer if we'll see him again in season 7 or season 8.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. You can't really say that, for sure, but
I think he'll be at the turning.
As long as Mira's alive, I think there's a good chance, or maybe something happens to her. But I want to see Howland Reed. And obviously he's going to be much fucking older, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
would.
really would. I mean, another thing I want to see too is the Godswood. That would make sense too with the brand storyline, but that's basically, all kind of tinfoilish.
Yeah, I think we will. I had actually made this in one of my prediction videos, like before all the uh spoiler shit that came out, where I was saying one way we could see Mira is if Bran sends her home. Or one way we could see Howland is if Bran sends Mira home, and then once she gets home, she talks to her father and explains to her. That would be one way that we would get to see Howland. So that's my answer. If Mira gets sent home by Bran, maybe to go get troops, or maybe just to be put out of danger because she's already lost her brother and Bran doesn't want to lose her, you know.
Or
So
maybe she's got to take Bran to freaking. Maybe that's part of Bran's thing. Maybe she needs to take Bran to freaking Howland because I'm really not sure on this. Isn't Howland somewhere near the Godswood right now? Definitely
uh
alive. And that, like I
yeah,
said, because we do trivia, if you remember correctly, like when they were talking to Jojen said, because people were saying, oh, he's dead. I'm like, he's not dead, because Jojen said that when my father found out, about your father, he cried. So he was alive at the time Ned was dead. That's
exactly.
100%.
I think, but here's the thing, man. Like in the books, that's he maybe still there's a chance, but the show with the way we're going, if we do see him, it'll either be in flashback or just to kill him off. Like there'll be something that happens, where he ends up getting killed off. And they're just wrapping up his storyline that way because they're like, hey, remember that guy that you saw that killed Arthur Dane, the greatest knight who ever lived? This is him. This is what he's doing now, and he's dead. Move on. You know what I mean? That's the way they handle shit like that. I just don't want to get
Yeah,
anyone to get your hopes up.
that's a damn Dave move. There's no doubt.
Yeah. All right. Well, if there's anything else you wanted to say, you can go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you at. I actually have to go pick up some lunch because I'm starving right now. Um, but yeah, do you want to
Oh,
tell
okay.
everyone where they can find you at?
Yeah, not a problem, man. Yeah, I'm on a channel called Trial by Trivia. Basically, what we do is we set up tournaments with YouTube personalities. We've done a Game of Thrones tournament. We've done a team tournament. Game of Thrones has A Song of Ice and Fire. We're looking into going to Star Wars every weekend. Matter of fact, you subscribe to the channel, man. I mean, and a lot of these people that are here in the chat, they're pretty loyal, man. I gotta definitely give them much love for that. But basically, every week we do a different trivia. Like we just did a random trivia. We're doing St. Patrick's Day trivia come Friday, and then the last weekend of the month, I think it's going to be Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. That's the plan right now, and that's going to be complete A Song of Ice and Fire. It's going to be all book. It's going to be all book stuff. So, and like I said, every week we do something else.
Awesome.
But
All right, so yeah, I'm actually putting your link in the description right now. So yeah, make sure you guys go check out his channel. Remember, it's for charity. So you're doing, not only are you helping everybody out by spreading this around, but you're also helping out, something charitable, so you can feel good about yourself. And
well,
you
yeah.
right?
Go ahead. No.
All right, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm not good at plugging myself. I never am. But another thing is to participate every month. Like I said, I always get shit from I know some of these bigger YouTubers like you don't use your tags right, and you don't do that because we're nonprofit, man. I mean, basically when you participate like in our chats and we rack up points at the end of every month, we give stuff away, even with our Patreons and all that. However much we have in Patreon, we give that right back. And there's plenty of people in this chat right now that can confirm that. Like, Jedi Master Cheryl, if you were in there and you wanted at the end of the month, you get with us and we either, we can go online together and find you some stuff, usually about $20, $30, or we'll just send you an Amazon gift card. And that's what we're about. We just give it back, man. We got a good, strong community. It's not a big one, but, it's a tight one. And that's it, man. We just try to do what we can to help out. We're supporting a charity right now called Guardian Angels Medical Service Dogs. These dogs, they help people, they change lives. Limb loss, PTSD, whatever it is. And, we're always open to help somebody new too. So that's all we do.
All right. Well, that's awesome. To just to summarize it, that's good to know. So not only, like, are you getting your content, and if you're a trivia person, which I am, I actually did it a few times when I used to drink. I used to go, we had like a local trivia thing here where I live at, which is always fun. So not only will you get to have fun with that, but it's also, they cover a wide range of topics. I know I have a bad habit of only doing Game of Thrones stuff. So, you know what I mean? Like, I try to do Walking Dead stuff, but this season is just terrible. And I was such a huge fan of The Walking Dead. I don't even like, it would almost be like, but see, here's the thing. I'll never be that let down from Game of Thrones, because even when they're lacking, it's still the greatest lacking ever. You know what I mean? But yeah, so make sure you go check them out. I just put their link in the description. Go subscribe. And then if you go to the right, you'll see the little notification icon. It's a bell. Click on it and then turn those on so you are updated on whenever they post a stream. I know I'll be on his channel coming up sometime, whether it's I think there's something St. Patty's coming up, or we might be doing something like Game of Thrones related. I'm not sure, but I'll let everyone know on my Twitter for that. But real quick, before I forget, I'm doing a giveaway for 10,000 subscribers. Once I hit it, I will put everyone who comments on all of my podcast episodes and any kind of content that I put out until I hit 10,000 subscribers. I'll put your name into a drawing, and then you'll win a Daenerys Dark Horse figurine with 3 interchangeable eggs. All you have to do so is like this video, comment down below, and follow me on Twitter. Oh yeah, and friend me on Facebook. All of those said things are free, so just go do it, and you can win, a $25 doll. I'll send it to you. It's okay. It's not a doll. It's a figurine. But yeah, anyway.
Your Barbie?
Yeah, it's a Barbie. Yeah, I'll send you. I mean, it pretty much is, because it's a female, action figures you think of more of as a guy. Now, my Arya action figure, I call it an action figure because she's got a sword and she's like, she's got a very menacing look to her. The Daenerys one, she's basically just standing there with her hands out, wanting to hold an egg. Now, there's nothing against that because I love Daenerys. She's my favorite character. But yeah, so anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Tarzan, thank you for coming on, sir.
Oh, thank you for having me, man.
All right, awesome. So I will catch you all down in the comment section. Make sure you go check out his channel. My name's Mark, and this has been Mark's Game of Thrones podcast. I'll see you all later. Peace.